Guten Abend. This is an Ollech Wajs Precision Diver, a vintage watch from the 1960s, from the Vietnam era. Apparently, according to my research, these German-made watches were very popular with the American troops in Vietnam, and there's a variety of different brands that took this model and rebranded it, did they? Anyway, you can also get like a Helsa that looks identical. This is the original, so to speak, the Ollech Wajs, and you can see the little logo. If I zoom in, am I going to get to zoom in? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the little logo. Let's have a look at this watch, and I don't know a huge amount about it other than probably the prettiest watch I've ever seen, or ever owned at least. So let's have a start. I apologise for the reflections. It's quite a reflecty watch because it's got this domed acrylic crystal, so it's going to reflect a fair amount of what's around it. However, I'm sure you can manage. It's not working at the moment because I haven't wound it for a little while, so I'm just going to wind it because it's nice to see a watch working, isn't it? Now this functions perfect. I've just had it serviced. All it needed was oil and a bit of a tidy, but it did also need a new crown. So this crown isn't original. However, it suits it well. So, nice deep black face, simple minute track around the outside, lovely blobs of Lume, rectangles at 6 and 9, and a nice deep triangle at 12. Those hands though, that's what makes it, I think. A long minute hand reaching right out with a bit of Lume in there, and that hour hand with the very unusual shape to it, a sort of cathedral hand, but without the Mercedes cross that you often get with that shape of hour hand. And then the second hand, nice long counterweight with the metal dot at the end. I hesitate to say lollipop because at the pointy end there's the lollipop filled with Lume, and the second hand continues on beyond the lollipop right out to the edge of the dial. And then at 12 we've got that nice logo, the OW Precision logo, and then at 6 it says 17 joules waterproof. Now 17 joules I can imagine, waterproof I'm not quite so sure after all these years, so I shall steer clear of the water. Now at 3 o'clock we've got this nice cutout for the date, which says 17 at the moment and is red on white, which is nice. I'm just going to change that now then. Oops, sorry, pull the crown out, wind that round, there we go, that's better. So sorry, I was a bit bothered because it wasn't quite central. So there we go. Then we've got this nice bezel around the outside, simple black bezel, silver markers at the various relevant points. No 30 at 30, but the rest is there, and then a bit of a dot, white dot at 12, and it's just a friction bidirectional bezel, and it is nice and straightforward. Around the outside, if we look on the side of the bezel there, you can see the bezel ring overhangs the bezel itself, which is nice. The watch case is kind of polished, sort of straight edges. Those lugs swooping down are great, aren't they? Angular, straight, long lugs. And then on the back, nothing much to report, just a sort of tested, it's very shiny, tested, what does it say, hang on, tested at 20 atmospheres. Yeah, okay, I'll take your word for it. And then there's a bit of other writing. I'll tell you what it says. It says, Swiss-made, waterproof, anti-magnetic, shock protected, stainless steel back. That's it. This strap is one that I just stuck on there. I'm not entirely convinced that's the strap for it, but it's comfortable for now, whilst I consider other options. As I said, the crown is a replacement, so nothing very interesting to tell you about that. It sits there. As you notice, when I pulled the crown out, it's kind of stiff and makes the hands jump about. So I try not to mess about with it too much, but it works. It does work perfectly fine. Now, in there, it's a hand winding movement. I think that adds to the thickness of the watch, because it's not a thick watch. It's coming in with the domed bezel at 11 millimeters, and without the domed bezel would be 9 millimeters. So it's a very slender watch, and it's from the 60s, so it's a 37 millimeter dial width without the crown, which for those days is quite large. These days is modest. We're coming back to those modest dimensions, aren't we? And the lug width is an annoying 19 millimeters. Is it 19 millimeters? Yeah, sort of 19. It's not even 19. It's like 19.5 millimeters. So this is a 20 millimeter strap that I've just sort of wedged in, which works fine. I'm just going to show you it on my wrist because that's always nice to see. So mine is a 7.5 inch wrist, and that's what it looks like. It's super comfortable, really light, and for an old watch, very, very practical, works really well. Wind it up in the morning, and it's good all day. Now the Lume on this, other examples we'll have on the underneath, right at the bottom here, T Swiss T. This doesn't have that, but the Lume is tritium. So let's have a look. I'm just going to charge it up and let's see what that tritium Lume looks like after 60 years. This is untouched, this dial. It hasn't been re-lumed or anything. Right, I'm just going to shut the curtains. Bear with me a second. I'm not very slick at the Lume demos, I must admit. I'm doing my best. Right, here we go. Yeah, it's still good. Still got a bit of glow. Now tritium is radioactive, I think. Not as radioactive as radium, but still a little bit radioactive. But not, I think tritium is pretty feeble, so there's no particular risk unless I'm going to start opening up the case and licking the dial, which I am tempted to do. It's such a pretty thing. Anyway, it's a bit creepy, isn't it? Moving on. Thanks very much for watching. I do other watch reviews. Please have a look around my channel. I also do knives and EDC. And if you subscribe, that would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate it. Comment below. Tell me what you think about this watch, if you've had one, or what you think of this one. And click like. That would be really appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.